Right, so this is Marauding Bass Podcast 6. Now, this one is solely focused on using live sandeel off the beach, at night primarily, when you're aware that there is a few sand eels about on your par. And a way of doing that is, if you like mackerel fishing with small sabikis, is instead of sort of having the rig as you're retrieving it for mackerel high up in the water, just have it right down on the bottom. Make sure there's sand there so you don't lose it, sand eel, and winding it slowly-ish near the bottom and running into your sand eel. And your sand eels will grab it and you can catch them that way. Put them in a bucket with an aerator and it should be fine. And either use them straight away or, take them home, put them somewhere cool, keep it sort of aerated, and use them in a few hours' time or something like that, waiting for the tide to sort of do its thing. But I generally use them while I'm there, catch them while I'm there, and then go from there. So then pretty much all you're doing is grabbing your spin rod, and you grab yourself a 1 ounce ball sinker or 1.5 ounce ball sinker with a hole in it. Slide your main line through that, bead, small swivel, and then about 750 ml a metre of fluorocarbon, £10, something like that, to your bass hook. Now you want something with a fairly big barb, and I think I used to use the Mustad 3408 or something like that. Anyway, it's the one, when you're looking at the diagrams to buy them or in the shop, look for the C hook about 2 to 40, the one with a real big barb in it. Or you could just go for like a Cassanian uptide hook, about 3 or 40, something like that. And you could just want to hook the sand eel through the nose, pull it out, and then just like tuck it into the belly. And you could try that. If you ain't going to cast it too far, you could try that. But if we go back to using the Mustad hook with the big barb, what you can do is you sort of put it through the eye sockets, I think I used to do. And with the big barb, it couldn't sort of pull out. If you're worried about that barb pulling out and you're not fishing with any bait, which is catastrophe, what you can do, sometimes when you buy packets of like treble hooks and things like that, there's bits of some nice foam in there. And what you want to do is cut yourself off a very small little sliver. It don't really matter if it's square, bit of a triangle or whatever, and just try and just get that over the barb, especially if your hook hasn't got much of a barb, and just tuck that in and then snip it ever so gently so you're to a point where you know that can't pull through the sand eel's nose or its eye sockets or whatever, and that isn't so much foam as it's going to make the sand eel float right up to the surface. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's little things like that you can do, but failing that particular hook pattern from Mustad, shouldn't let the hook pull through. Okay, so it's night time, you've got your headlamp on, you've got your baits, you've got your rig, you're at the bucket, you've baited up, you're ready to go. So you just walk as far as you can, as far as you dare, in the surf. You don't want it so rough that you're sort of, your gears just get washed back up on the beach. It wants to have a bit of a surge, but not, maybe like half a metre, something like that. And you literally want to be casting it maybe 20, 30 yards, right? And as you cast it out, you let it hit, bail arm off, walk back to the sand, okay? Bail arm down, and then you just engage and hold the line on the sand, rod tip down on the sand, just so you can feel the lead. And you probably feel the lead moving around. Probably want to be fishing some fire line or some Berkeley fire line, some sort of braid, so you can feel every little as the lead's moving around, okay? And that's it. You just wait for a bite. Usually, if you're in a good patch of ground where you've caught some bass before, maybe on lures and things like that, you might expect to get a take quite soon. So if you feel yourself getting some sort of a bass bite, or it goes slack, don't wind, just walk back until you engage with it again. Okay, and if you can feel the fish there again, just hold the spool and then just gently strike and try and engage with the fish, sort of walking backwards a little bit. Okay, and then you should be on. And that's pretty much all it is for them. Like I was saying, it can be quite a deadly bait. Like I say, those bait fish, they need to be on that particular area, that beach, and it's like you usually, if you're messing around mackerel fishing, you think, oh, Sandeel. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're there. If the sand eels are there, there's a good chance of running into a bass fishing that way. It's a lovely way to fish, nice and light, live baiting. Go down in the dark with a live bait. They find them in the dark, and it's a different sort of technique. With a float and doing it off the beach, it's a little bit more difficult, bobbing around, but when you're ledgering on the bottom, it's more sort of direct, and your live bait's just sitting there. But you have to, that approach, the lead's not really big enough, you do have to strike, you've got to set the hook. For me, bass's mouths are quite bony-ish, so that mustad hook, although it's got a big barb, for me that's not the best sort of hook. It's quite a thick wire gauge hook. It's good for keeping a sand eel on. But then again, if your line's sort of strong enough, say 18-pound braid, let's say your trace is bring it up to 15-pound amnesia or something like that. And when you do strike, do you know what I'm saying? Should be able to set the hook, but the Cassanian pattern are a little bit more thin wire, razor sort of sharp, and it's just that hook you just want to, do you know what I'm saying? Just want to get the barb in. And obviously fishing, making sure you've got a sand eel on. Like I say, if you had anything in, 10 minutes, I'd quickly wind it in just to inspect the bait and see what it's like. And if the bait's looking a little bit, buggered up, I'd just sort of swap it over quickly with a fresher one. And that's pretty much it, really. And like I say, you probably only got to be doing that technique for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours over a certain period of the tide, when it's conducive, when you're likely to get one. That could be when the tide's coming in, like 2 hours before high water would be a good time. Usually coincides when the mackerel and sand eel are caught on the sabiki, so it might be a good time to have one of them on the bottom. You might want to blow caution to the wind and just fish over the bottom of the tide, fishing with the sand eels. Tempting a bass that way, who's foraging around looking for crabs and things, and then he sees a bait which usually appears at high water, and he's like, oh my god, what's this lollipop doing here? And bang, there he goes. And also with a live bait, you take away all the pests nicking your worm baits or your fish baits on the bottom, things like that. Although I don't think it's a bad thing to have a few crabs on that, nipping away, having a feed, and Mr. Big Bass comes along and scoops up the lot, scoops up the crab, your bait, the hooks, everything, which is how a lot of them get caught. I know that's how a lot of smoothhound get caught. A lot of people catch smoothhound on squid, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell, even lugworm. I'm like, how on earth is that they managed to, because they're a crab eater, you see, and what it is, the crabs are on your baits, stripping your hooks, and then the big smoothhound comes in and bang. It's the same with the bass, I'm sure. But there's all sorts of theories. Unless you've got a camera right on there, sort of seeing what's going on, you never really know. But with a live bait, you really are just sort of homing in on that one species. Anything from like a 2-0 hook, 3-4-0 hook is about as big as you want to go. Thin wire. Nice and sharp. Right, that is the sand eel from the shore at night with a rolling lead. And very simple technique, light gear, need one rod, light reel, ain't got to carry a big tackle box, just carry everything in like one little shoulder bag and a bucket with your live baits in, and just walk down at night, lovely and quiet, with your headlamp, have a watch, keep an eye on the tide, know what time bite time is, all that sort of stuff. Beautiful. And the new moon, for me, you want the new moon. You want it nice and dark. And good luck. Try it. It's anywhere from sort of Cornwall, Devon beaches, Dorset, South Coast, around up to sort of the Wash, really. Bristol Channel, Wales. Go for it. All right, guys. I'll catch you later.